baristas are?
They are baristas who kind of work in little like to-go espresso shacks who wear barely their bikinis and generally have a lot of elderly aged men kind of be their regular customers.
Well, you serve coffee in a drive-thru, but you serve it in a bikini.
It's sort of your basic coffee stand in parking lot hut thing. And you've got scantily clad baristas in order to boost customership, you know, coffee and a show, I guess.
They call it coffee with a view. Have you ever visited one out of curiosity or convenience?
I haven't. My dad has told stories about it. He accidentally went to one once and was like, oops.
I haven't, but I've had a friend who worked at one.
City of Everett's trying to put these dress codes on them, and the Bikini Baristas are claiming their right to the freedom of expression. Do you think that's a legitimate claim?
Like, if that's the way they want to earn money, like, and that's the way they can, I'm totally cool with that. You do you.
Yeah.
I would say no, just because it was a dress code for them to work there.
I think it is a valid argument. It's not one I personally agree with, but I think like as far as like court of law, it probably will hold up.
Yeah, I'd say it definitely falls under freedom of expression. It's kind of like the same concept as Hooters, in my opinion, where they're just serving burgers, but they're dressing how they want.
So if all Bikini Barista stands were to give city access to the security cameras to sort of prove that there weren't any illegal activities going on, then do you think the Bikini Barista stand should be left alone?
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're able to prove that they're doing things within the confines of the law, it sounds fine to me. I mean, if you follow the rules, you follow the rules, and you shouldn't get in trouble for it.
I guess if there's nothing illegal going on and they can prove that and have evidence that that's what they want to do, then I think that's great, but I think it's going to be a tricky argument.
If Bikini Barista stands were to like entirely disappear from at least the Seattle region, what do you think that like mean for businesses in the city of Seattle, if anything?
I mean, coffee shops seem to do fine without that. I mean, it's Seattle, so coffee is everywhere, and it's just sort of a niche audience that they're marketing to, and there's a lot of people who don't go to them because it just makes them really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think that would have a pretty negative effect on businesses because that would show that the cities can kind of come in and say what the businesses have to do and just restrict them even more.
None of them have working numbers, and it turns out one of them is closed. So this Saturday we're going to try to go into Seattle and go to the stands in person to see if they're willing to do an interview. Can I just get like another like affirmation on audio that you're okay with being recorded?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Do you mind if we at least include your age, or would you rather not?
I'm 24.
The first question I had was, how did you get your job?
I have friends who worked for the company, so.
So would you say like this kind of like, as a Bikini Barista, it's more like a word of mouth kind of?
Yes and no. I mean, if you like work in sex work, if you're a stripper, things like that, then it's also, you know, well known and available. So.
How open are you about your job to like people in your life?
Well, my mom definitely knows, just for safety reasons, because, you know, we get here at 4 a.m. We're just while I'm opening, it's just sort of like
The person you sort of call like when you get on the job and when you get off your job? It's
both, yeah, just because it can be like, you know, dark when you come to work, dark when you get off work, and you never know who's around. And my boyfriend, he knows.
What's your general experience like with customers?
It's actually not bad. A lot of people are professional for the most part. You know, people come for coffee and they also come to see ladies. And so you get a handful of weirdos, which is to be expected. We have the right to refuse service.
So like if there's any like unwanted contact or behavior, what do you usually do like if that happens?
I mean, I've had people try and touch me and then you refuse service, and I will call the police. I have bear mace and I have used it before.
You at least have the basic like means to protect yourself and also like a further extension if things sort of go really awry.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah. Would you say that happens like very often, or is that just like a really handful of like?
No, I've worked here for almost a year and it's happened twice. Yeah, people are respectful for the most part.
What's your dynamic like with your coworkers? Because I know you guys probably work in shifts.
One person opens and then the next person comes in and switches out. So you don't really have coworkers. You just kind of come to work and then work your shift.
Everything you earn is
Exactly, yeah.
I know, like, people, I think Bikini Baristas has really been pushed onto the news because of the controversy over the ordinances, right? And people are either saying, like, women have the right to, like, use their bodies as they want to, it's like freedom of expression, or people, and it's like women's rights, or people say it's like a step backwards from women's rights. So what's your, like, stance on it, if you have any?
You know, there are two ways to look at it. It's like people are manipulating you to look at your body, but in my opinion, you're not manipulating people, but, you know, you're selling yourself and people are giving you money. I don't know. I believe that if you're comfortable with your body and you can make money off of it, then why not? As long as you respect yourself and don't allow people to demean you.
Would you say, like, we need a change in that, or is it just like people need to stop being so, like, narrow-minded? Like,
well, people over-sexualize women when, you know, like, okay, I'm at work, I come to make you coffee, and I happen to be, you know, almost naked. That does not give you the right to touch me. That does not give you the right to say rude things or, you know, be inappropriate. Come in here to pay me for a service, which is literally, like, you know, the minimal of that is me giving you coffee. Like, I don't owe you anything else. I feel like there's this, like, idea of, like, women are being objectified, and it's not the women causing this problem, it's the people that are like, oh, well, she's standing here in this window in a mesh bodysuit, she's asking for it. That's never a thing. Like, no one ever asks for it. Our community needs to recognize that this is a job. You know, it varies across the board, I guess.
and then just, like, my final question. One of the things I read about is if Bikini Barista stands were sort of, like, classified, categorized more as, like, adult venues, then you guys wouldn't be subject to, like, at least in Everett, where these ordinances about what you should, like, dress codes, you guys wouldn't be subject to that. But how would you feel?
Well, it takes away almost all of your money because people are here to see girls that are covered up, and we all know that, you know. The more skin you show, the more money you make. And so you cover us up, you take away our money, and it's just like, for what? The stand that I'm in right now, it has coverings on the window. It's stare directly into it. The only people that can see into it are the customers that are physically driving up to the window. Having these locations, having this business is not a problem. You have family areas, and I can understand why you wouldn't necessarily put those across from an elementary school, things like that. And I don't even know if you can do that, but if it's not directly... If you're not directly harming anyone, I don't see the problem with these things. They shouldn't shield your children from sex.
Hi, this is Popcorn Revere.
Thank you so much for doing this interview today. One of my first questions is, do you know what the legitimacy to which the right to serve coffee wearing bikinis can be justified as freedom of expression?
Yeah, we live in a free country. Typically, the government doesn't get to dictate what people wear.
The reason why I was wondering about that is Everett's lewd conduct and related offenses code. I was looking at that, and they directly include businesses contained in structures which can serve customers who remain in their vehicles via drive-up windows. So does such a right take away from that merit of the Bikini Baristas' claim to freedom of expression?
Well, I mean, before you even get to a question of whether or not it's freedom of expression, there's whether or not this is a legitimate exercise of government power. A city can adopt whatever ordinance it wants, but it doesn't mean that the ordinance will survive judicial review.
I was just wondering, do you know if, like, drive-through stands are generally classified as a public place, or is this sort of more of a deliberate targeting by Everett at Bikini Baristas?
I really couldn't tell you about the specific ordinance. Generally, places that serve food are places of public accommodation, but whether or not they're classified as a public place, there are limits to what government can order people to do.
So, along the vein of, like, targeting, these Bikini Baristas are claiming that the Everett ordinances discriminate against women, especially as only women work as Bikini Baristas. Do you think that will find validity in the court when this lawsuit starts to go through?
It could. There is the Free the Nipple movement that has argued that it's a violation of equal protection to allow men to walk around in public shirtless, but not women. This obviously doesn't go as far because we're talking about people who are wearing clothing. But the principle is the same. There is an argument to be made that something that discriminates against women in this way has constitutional problems.
In your professional opinion, do you believe the city of Everett is justified in interfering with Bikini Barista stands on the grounds that these stands are linked to prostitution and what they call significant secondary criminal conduct?
I really can't speak to what facts the city may have claimed to have found about whether or not they're linked to prostitution or anything else. It seems far-fetched to me to generalize from an event or an occurrence that they think happened in one place doesn't justify regulating all places.
For you, how do you define the line between individual freedom and public security?
Well, this case does not involve public security. This case involves someone somewhere being offended. Okay, and so people try and confuse the two quite often. Usually the people who want to regulate what they find offensive. My feeling about this is that you would think that people have better uses for their time than this.
Thank you so much, Bob. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Throughout the last 3 weeks of this video documentary, I've tried and successfully talked to one Bikini Barista, a First Amendment lawyer, and also interviewed fellow UW students. The overall consensus seems to be that Bikini Baristas should be left alone to wear their bikinis. It's a profitable job within your First Amendment right to expression and generally doesn't seem to be viewed as overly problematic. The incidents of prostitution and public indecency the city of Everett is using to justify the dress code, that expresses a real problem, but I don't think the right way of going about it right now is restricting all the Bikini Barista stands. At least that's what I think after all of this. So thank you for watching this video documentary. I hope you enjoyed it.